The itch for football is near. We're in the final week of the month of July. You are locked and loaded right now onto the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, notes, and information on a Monday. This right here is In My Own Words with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Getting your work week started off right. Appreciate and happy to see each and every last one of you tuned in to the channel on today. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to dive into, a lot to discuss. As always, bringing this to you from Tuscaloosa, streaming this on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, give a thumbs up, a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, and turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have all the alerts, updates, and coverage on your Crimson Tide. Speaking of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, you can purchase individual copies of the magazine and have those sent to your door. Link will be found in the description. But we start things off by addressing the better man in the room. It's the final week of July, and we cannot start this week without saying, hey, what's up to the man, John Ivory. John, what's going on?
What's going on, Steven? What's going on with the chat? Roll Tide. Hey, share the show with your family and friends. We got a hot show tonight. You do not want them to miss it. Also, make sure you like and subscribe if you're new.
And we want you being a part of the conversation along with the things that Mr. Ivory has just mentioned. Now, for you to be a part of the conversation, it's simple. You call 205-448-1358. Once again, that's 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. As I mentioned, we got a lot to get into. It's going to be awesome getting a chance to sit down later on with Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama Magazine, to talk one 5-star defensive tackle Damon Payne making his commitment to the Tide along with other things. But we start off with a couple of updates here, and one was Skylar DeLong. Alabama punter Skylar DeLong was deleted off the roster at one point in time today accidentally. He was not on the roster of the punter who came from Fort Mill, South Carolina in the 2018 recruiting class. He was regarded as one of the nation's top punting prospects, especially when you look at hang time punting. So he was one of those big guys in the 2018 class, tapped to replace the likes of J.K. Scott and how dominant he was for the Crimson Tide. Now, Skylar DeLong's had some struggles in the last 2 years. He looks to improve his game much so, but he was not on the roster for a good portion of today. Probably was a mix-up in the communication staff department, as he has been added back on to the roster. So 6'4", 188 pounds, Skylar DeLong, the junior from South Carolina, has been added back to the Crimson Tide's roster. But in other news here, former Crimson Tide players Marlon Humphrey and Josh Jacobs. The NFL has started its top 100 players list. They do this every summer. They have the list done every Sunday. It's voted on by the players. And this past Sunday, it was players from number 100 up to number 72 or 70, either one of those two. But Marlon Humphrey and Josh Jacobs make the list here. Marlon Humphrey debuting at number 86 for the Baltimore Ravens. Josh Jacobs, after a massive rookie season for the Las Vegas Raiders, debuted at number 72. So happy to see both of those guys making that list there for the NFL's top 100. It's going to be more Crimson Tide standouts on that list as they continue to break that down. But we get into now topic one of the conversation here on the show, ladies and gentlemen, and it goes to Athletic Director Greg Byrne and the Crimson Tide. Greg Byrne and Alabama football has a chance to do something groundbreaking, monumental, next level. They have an opportunity to really not only change the landscape of college football from this perspective, but also dictate other programs in college football. And when you look at just this upcoming season for just a moment here, I know Alabama, it wanted to play Southern California. I know Greg Byrne, he wanted to play USC. of the Pac-12. And it was going to set up to be a strong matchup, a great matchup. But we can't cry over the spilled milk now, just seeing how, of course, the global coronavirus pandemic and the Pac-12 had to, along with the Big 10, and the ACC, go to that conference-only look. So USC had to cancel the season opening matchup with Alabama. I mean, there were talks that Notre Dame would be the first team that Alabama would play, and Notre Dame would have been an instant classic. However, Greg Byrne saw maybe not now is the perfect time to play the Irish, so that got vetoed. And then, of course, TCU, at one point was a thought, but nobody has touched on that since. And now the latest team that has come up, BYU, and though Brigham Young, it's got history, it's got tradition, it's a good program, but not quite the standard that, Alabama wants to have in play here. So Greg Byrne and the Crimson Tide, there's an opportunity to start this season off with a blockbuster, big-time matchup, big-time game. And, Byrne, at 48 years of age, was brought into Alabama as one of the fiery, hungry, innovative, thought-provoking. He was brought in as one of the young, hotshot guns in terms of athletic directors. And I know he dabbles more so into basketball than football, but one of the first moves he made when he got to Tuscaloosa was extending Nick Saban's contract. So if he was able to get that done, Greg Byrne knows that there's an expectation among this fan base, among this program for, a lot of things. Alabama moves the needle in college football. Alabama is the elite program in college football. Since 2008, opposition has been chasing Nick Saban when you talk about national championships, top-ranked recruiting classes, getting quality coaches in the program, and putting players in the NFL draft. Other programs have been chasing Nick Saban. The idea from national media and rival fan bases since 2008 has been, is there any other team that can do what Nick Saban has done at Alabama? Is there any other coach, I should say, that can do what Coach Saban has done at Alabama, which is go on a 10-plus year unprecedented run of championships, top recruiting classes, putting guys consistently in the NFL, and this is why people are clamoring for the likes of Dabo Swinney and Clemson to go on that run, of Ryan Day and Ohio State to go on that run, of Kirby Smart and Georgia to go on that run, even down to Ed Orgeron and the LSU Tigers to go on that run. So since 2008, everybody's been kind of chasing Nick Saban, and I understand. For a lot of you fans out there, it's whatever Alabama puts on the schedule, whomever Alabama plays, it doesn't matter. I just want football, just want football, just want football. And while I agree, and while I totally agree, when something has been threatened to be taken away from you, or something is removed from you, and you're able to get that back, that thing becomes craved, that thing becomes valued even more, and the celebration behind it is no basic celebration. It's an extravagant celebration. It is, we got to do it big and we got to do it right because we almost did not have this. For example, before I started covering Alabama football full-time here at TDA, I actually was a teacher at a drug rehabilitation clinic off the prison system here. And just looking at the prison system, say, for example, your Uncle JoJo. Say, for example, Uncle JoJo went to prison, right? Uncle JoJo went to prison, and Uncle JoJo meant a lot to your family. And you never thought you would see Uncle JoJo go away because of how much he meant. And everybody in your family like, man, we ain't gonna never see JoJo go get out. My partner ain't never getting out, man. Unc ain't never getting free, man. They ain't gonna never free Unc, man. Unc in here for the rest of his life. And the moment Uncle JoJo gets out of prison, everybody, you might have an idea to have a small, intimate get-together. That's not going to happen because the whole block going to be there. They going to bring the domino games. They going to bring the drinks. They going to bring the women. They going to bring the whole hood because Uncle JoJo out. They gonna do it big because in their mind, we thought we were never gonna see JoJo again. And that's kind of how this is in college football. For a lot of you out there, it was looking bleak in the last, few months or so about we may not have college football, y'all. These cases have gotten too high. This corona gotten too high. This rona gotten too big, man. I don't know if we gonna have football, man. It ain't looking good, man. It ain't looking bleak. It's looking too bleak, bruh. I don't know. And now that there's an opportunity to have a college football season, Greg Byrne and Alabama, they have an opportunity to do this thing right. They have an opportunity here to do this thing big because, if Alabama schedules a big marquee matchup that gets people to the TV set, that gets people to buy tickets, that gets people to want to check this out, then it dictates to other programs out there, well, if Alabama's doing it, then, we got to do it because we ain't trying to fall behind. Perfect case and scenario, you all remember Roy Kramer. Former SEC Commissioner Roy Kramer, who was over the conference from 1990 to 2002. The man was an absolute visionary. And sometimes people don't like to ride with the vision. Well, Roy Kramer in 1992, he's known as the father of the BCS, the Bowl Championship Series system. But Kramer in 92, he came up with the idea of putting the SEC in uncharted waters, in uncharted territory, having a conference championship game. Nobody had a conference championship game, a conference title game prior to Kramer coming in. It was, if you finish the season undefeated, you go play for the national championship. But Kramer wanted a way to get college football even more enticing, even more fun, even more energetic, even more entertaining. He wanted to have even more TV eyes on it, even more attention talking about it. So he pitched the idea of the SEC having a conference title game. Well, at first, a lot of people were against Kramer. Kramer, I think you old and senile, bruh. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is going to happen. What if it busts? What if it fails? What if it don't work out? But Kramer's thinking, what if it hits? What if it succeeds? What if it does great? What if everybody follows our lead? So he's thinking about the more positive picture here. And we all know the story. It became, Alabama, Florida, Legion Field in Birmingham for the SEC championship. I'm pretty sure Kramer had some fears because the game went back and forth like a seesaw, and he was holding his breath, thinking, "Lord, did I doom myself? Did I jeopardize, having Alabama get into the national championship game?" But thankfully, Antonio Langham got the pick six off Shane Matthews, tied 28-21. It worked. And it worked to where you had TV contracts. You had ABC, ESPN, CBS fighting for that SEC championship game. You had fans, that wanted to be a part of that. SEC fans and rival fan bases. And then, of course, since Kramer, every single Power 5 conference now has a conference title game since then. Sometimes you think about if Kramer didn't step out on that vision, do we have it? Do we get it? We never know. So Greg Byrne has this opportunity right now. To do what Kramer did in terms of, yes, USC was the scheduled game. It would have been great. It would have been nice, but now it's broken. You're not playing USC. You can't cry over spilled milk. This is his opportunity to do right, not only by the Alabama fan base and the Alabama program, but now dictate to the rest of college football. He gets to go out here and handpick an opponent and handpick who he wants to play. This is huge here, for athletic director Greg Byrne. And just to me, if Alabama was able to hit on, playing Oklahoma, that's a blockbuster matchup. That's getting people to a TV set. That's getting people to buy tickets to the game. If it's Alabama, Texas, same deal. That's a blockbuster matchup. I gotta see it, gotta watch it. That's getting people to the game. Whether it's Oklahoma State or West Virginia, maybe a UCF, whomever Greg Byrne decides to put on the schedule, go after making those phone calls, it's got to be a matchup that sets the tone. Because like I said, we were so close to having football being pried from our hands here, folks. And for Alabama, biggest program in college football, got to be able to have this done right in terms of the season opening matchup. But we take our first break here on the show. Got to remind you though, folks, Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes are good friends at Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes. If you use the code TDA Emily's, you earn 10% off all orders over $30. That is Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes. Link will be found in the description. But upon our return, we take your phone calls, your tweets, your chats, your thoughts, your questions, your concerns after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
We're back in, folks, on a Monday. How we feeling, Tide Nation? In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Got the man John Ivory in the production studio. As always, folks, be sure to give a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, and turn all of those notifications on so you can keep up to date with your Crimson Tide. As always, 205-448-1358. It's your time, Tide Nation, to let your voice be heard. 205-448-1358. Time to hear from you. And we start things off with Chris out of Ballard Sports Media. Chris, what's going on, man? You're on the show.
Mr. Stephen Smith, how you doing tonight?
Man, I cannot complain. It's Monday, final week of July. My football itch is coming back, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's just, I mean, I think it's a given that if we have football, we're going to see conference-only matchups. The question is, are we going to get football? You know, because the virus is still there. This pandemic's still going on. In certain places, it's getting worse. In some places, maybe it's getting better. You know, so it's still up for debate, you know, and in the air if we get football or not. But, you know, hopefully we get football, and, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, that's everybody's prayer. That's everybody's faith, you know, that there is a football season. I know the NCAA dropped the new guidelines, and they want those new guidelines adhered to, including the testing that has to take place. We all saw what happened with Major League Baseball today in regards to, you know, the Miami Marlins. But I still have high regard that a football season will happen. A football season will take place. My whole thing is that, and I understand a lot of people want football regardless, but it's like you have the season and you almost didn't have it. It's like that first game of the season sets a serious tone. And for fans, not just Alabama fans, but college football fans, they want to see a really, really, really good game just to kick off the year because in your mind, it was looking so bleak for a while.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. And, I mean, listen, with everything now, I get this virus isn't bad because it almost cost us a football season or it canceled sports. I know people are dying from this and everything. But just for us football fans, man, we've been sitting back trying to watch, like, Korean baseball and still wondering if we're going to get a football season. And I think we can agree, as Alabama fans, yes, we want a good matchup for week one. yes, it kind of sucks that USC and the Pac-12 are going to go conference only, and we can't play them. And now Greg Byrne has to meet up with someone and figure something out. But I think at this point, man, I think any team that we get, I'm hearing rumors it's like TCU is like the main target. I think at this point, we're just hoping for any football game right now.
You're watching Canadian baseball. Chris, how is that going?
I said Korean baseball was there.
Oh, Korean baseball. How's that going?
Yeah. I don't know. I never really saw that. But when MLB started back up this week, I started getting back into that and everything. Because Korean baseball in Korea, it's a different time. That stuff came on at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast in the United States. I wasn't going to get up to watch that. I mean, but I don't know.
It's something, man. But hey, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying it looked like it went all right, I guess.
But man, my sentiments are with you. I want a season just like you want a season, just like everybody that's a college football fan wants a season. But we appreciate the call, Chris, man. Keep listening to us.
Thanks, Steven. Have a good one and roll Tide.
Appreciate that coming from Chris. They're starting us off. We go down to Waylon on a Monday. Waylon, what's going on, brother?
Hey, it's Monday. There's no better place to be than TDA. What's going on down at TDA today, Steven?
Doing fantastic here, Waylon. It's going to be awesome in a minute. Pretty soon here we're going to be talking with Justin about the big commitment of Damon Payne that happened on Sunday. Remember the last Payne that Alabama had to run Payne? That was a big-time man right there. So now we have Damon Payne in here.
Yeah, we snuck up to Michigan and pulled one right out from under Hallbar's feet. I wonder how he likes that there. I don't know. Took the top athlete right out of the state of Michigan. You may be singing the blues, Stephen.
I mean, Alabama has done this before with Harbaugh, 2017, and went up there and took Najee Harris from him. And so, I mean, it took Najee Harris from Harbaugh. It got the commitment from Payne. I mean, I understand Harbaugh is a quarterback mind, but when you're playing against, Nick Saban, he's playing chess to your checkers. And with everybody saying that it's over for Saban, he's done for, he can't recruit anymore, can't do this and that anymore, Saban's like, this is all rat poison and lies. I'm still doing this.
Yeah, he's still on top of the game. There's no doubt about it. But we want to mention, of course, you did on TDA, and TDA did too there. Coach Sylvester Croom's going into Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. I think that's going to happen on Sunday. Is that correct?
That's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be this weekend.
On Sunday night, I guess. Yeah, we want to remember Coach Crooms and what all those players done to come to Alabama and the sacrifices they made, and this we've got to let loose this negativity, people. If we don't, we just going backward. That's not the plan. God's plan for us to go backward. The only way we're going to get rid of this racism is march forward hand in hand, and that's the way it's got to be. And that stuff really brings me down to see that, and brings down people's. It just makes people feel bad all the way around. But anyway. We love TDA and all the people on the chat. I love everybody on the chat. I appreciate the love. We're going to work on a poem for Wednesday or Friday. We got a few things rolling along there. And we're going to try to get out of here and hope everybody has a good Tuesday. And we'll see everybody again on Wednesday. Okay, Stephen, y'all have a good one. Everybody will have something ready on Wednesday or Friday. Bye-bye, everyone. Y'all stay safe. Bye-bye.
Appreciate that, Waylon. Always enjoy him giving his words here on the show. We continue with the calls on a Monday. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen, how are you?
Cannot complain, man. It's Monday, final week of July. I'm getting this football itch in my foot here.
Yeah, I hear you on that, man. I had a question. You were talking about the opponents, the week one opponents for Alabama, and I want to know if you're actually hearing whether there's certain guys that we're going to be trying to get. I mean, I'm like a lot of people at this point. I just kind of want to play somebody, but I kind of was listening to what you were saying there a bit ago, and I wouldn't mind, someone like an Oklahoma or West Virginia or someone like that. But I just want to know if you actually hearing anything regarding that.
Haven't heard anything as of yet. Would like to see Coach. I like to see Greg Byrne kind of hammer some things down and get a concrete team. I mean, I know this week right here, if not this week, then the first week of August, Commissioner Sankey of the SEC is supposed to be making the announcement as to whether the SEC will have a full schedule season or will it go to a conference-only look. But haven't heard anything as of yet. But knowing the type of individual that Greg Byrne is, I'm pretty sure he is out there trying to hammer something down.
Yeah, that's good to know. I'm just just kind of getting a little excited here. Running up July, and I don't know. It's just August come around the corner, and I don't know, Stephen M. I'm just a little excited for some football, and just kind of hoping that we just play somebody, and I definitely want to play somebody that's really top tier, but I don't know. I'm just really for the tide to roll, and looking forward to a season, and hope everybody stays healthy. And thank you for taking my call, and roll tide.
Appreciate the call in there. People wanting a football season. I want one too. We continue the calls here on a Monday. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen. Thanks for taking my call. I was listening to you talk about how the AD has such an opportunity to do something special this year. And I'm kind of frustrated that he was so willingly passed up on Notre Dame and is so flirtatious with BYU. I mean, like, I'm happy to have any football that first week, but I mean, like, we all know that would not be a very entertaining game. We'd handle BYU pretty easily. I'm frustrated that he's not taking the opportunity. Like you said, I feel like he's really not taking it that serious because he's not going after those high-profile teams. And I mean, it seems like they're settling on BYU. It looks like that will be the first team we play. And I wish he would take the opportunity to do what Nick Saban's talked about for years, having you play your conference and then having 3 or 4 Power 5 teams. I mean, he could even go that far with it. We don't know what the FCS is going to do. They may not play FBS teams. He could get another Power 5 school in there somewhere. I just wish he would have really pressed harder for a Power 5 instead of a Group of 5 like BYU, for the fans' sake.
I wanted Notre Dame, much like you, man. I wanted Notre Dame because that would have been an instant classic matchup. And, once again, I know for a lot of people, you just want football. And I want football myself. I mean, I'm right here, covering this team, this program for TDA, and I want football also. But at the same time, to me, there's a standard at Alabama, and it's not just on the field, it's not just in the classroom or in the community, though those aspects matter, but also in the scheduling. Alabama fans and college football fans in general, they just want to see marquee, fun matchups. And it's hard sometimes when you have fans in the stands or you have fans watching on TV. And Coach Saban, he wants those guys to stay for 4 quarters because those players are playing for 4 quarters. And I 100% agree with the sentiment that he has. But at the same time, it is hard to have your attention kept when it's Alabama, BYU, or it's Alabama and somebody that's not at that standard to where it forces you, I got to get to a TV set to watch this. Or it doesn't force you to, I got to go to TidePride.com or StubHub or a ticket site to go buy these tickets. Like, playing BYU, and they're a program with history. They're a program with tradition. But just playing that program, it does not move me to, if I don't get a ticket to this game or if I'm not watching this game, I question myself as a fan. Now, if this was Oklahoma or if this was Texas or Notre Dame, then I'm questioning myself because I'm like, man, if I miss this, I might be missing history.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I feel the same way. I just and I don't know everything. He could be looking for a more high profile game. And of course, other teams have scheduling issues. It's not like he can just pick whoever he wants, But I do wish that he try a little bit harder to get something that will be better for the fan. That will be better for the fan base, since like you said, we thought we might not have a football season, and go big, just like that analogy you used for Unc, getting out of prison and stuff. So, but yeah. Anyway, I'll hop off of here, Stephen A. Roll Tide, and I'll be thankful for whoever we play.
Absolutely appreciate the call, man. You guys are lighting us up on a Monday edition of the show. We're going to take a break here right now. Don't touch that dial. Just getting started, but upon our return, we sit down with the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, one Justin Smith, to talk 5-star defensive tackle Damon Payne, among other things, right after this.
If you want delicious home-style cooking, sushi, and hibachi, check out Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. At home and you can't get away from the TV because the Crimson Tide is about to score? Don't worry, delivery is also available through Waitr and Crimson2go. That's Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And make sure you let them know the good folks at Touchdown Alabama sent you. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual go to click $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We're back into the break here, folks, on a Monday, hottest show on the streets, in my own words. Appreciating everybody for tuning in on today. Gotta give a shout out to Spencer Reveley, one of our faithful listeners here to the show. Spencer Reveley giving in a $10 donation via the Super Chats. Once again, if you want to give a donation via Super Chats, there's a $ on the bottom part to the right side, bottom part right side of the YouTube chat screen there. You hit that $, and you can make that donation, and it helps us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine get more equipment, keep the site running. It helps the staff here at TDA, and it also helps us continue to give you, what you crave, which is Alabama football. So appreciate the love there from Spencer Reveley donating that $10 in as he nominates Waylon as the president of the YouTube chat. I think Waylon will appreciate that presidency quite well, Spencer. But we're back in from the break here, folks. And we go to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up the man, the legend on the ground in recruiting, that being one Justin Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Justin, man, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good, Steven.
You feeling good, man? I'm feeling great right now. So, Damon Payne on Sunday made the decision to commit to the Crimson Tide, 5-star, defensive lineman out of the state of Michigan. This gives the Crimson Tide, according to, the notes, the plug that you have, or the graphic that you have on the TDA site, this gives the Tide 4 5-star commitments here. And, what sets Payne apart? I know you love his game. You've talked about his game quite a bit. But now that he's made the move to commit, talk more about what sets off Damon Payne to you.
Well, as far as his film is concerned, Damon Payne, what he brings to the table, as I always said, this is an explosive defensive tackle, one of the most explosive defensive linemen in the 2021 recruiting class. But watching his film more and more, I'm really starting to like his ability to get after the ball carrier in terms of how controlled he is on the rush. This is a kid who knows how to control that 6'4", 290-pound frame. It really looks as if he's navigating to get to the ball carrier and get to the quarterback. So I really like that about Damon Payne. But as far as his commitment is concerned, this is massive for the Tide. I know there was a lot of talk about the Tide having the best offensive line class ever for the last couple of weeks now. But now that the Tide has added a 5-star defensive tackle, the conversation will now switch towards how good can this defensive line class be for the Tide 2021 recruiting class. You have Damon Payne. You add him for Anquan Barnes, 3-star defensive tackle out of Montgomery. You also look at the Tide board with so many other defensive linemen in play. You can just rattle off names looking at guys like Montel Goodwin, Shamar Turner, Montel Goodwin, Shamar Turner, also Shamar Jackson, Corey Foreman, a five-star defensive end out of California. You can name Mason Smith, the five-star defensive tackle out of Louisiana. Tim Kenning III, Birmingham, Alabama product. So it's so many different names still on the Tide's recruiting board when it comes to the defensive line group. And I think we will see some of the Tide's coaching staff attention turn towards that now that you see the offensive line group is pretty much wrapped up. And when you just look at this 2021 recruiting class, we are past the halfway point. We look at how many recruits they have now with 16.
Now, Justin, talk more about the control of Damon Payne, because you've spoken so much about how controlled he is as a rusher, how under control he is as a run stopper. Just dive more into that control. Speak on how he is able to control himself and not run himself out of plays.
Yeah, I think that is something with the way he has been trained. You can tell that this is a kid who really thinks when he's rushing, because it almost looks as if he just stopped rushing at times because he's looking for the football. He makes contact and sticks his head up around the offensive lineman to see where the ball is going. So he has great lateral quickness as well, being able to adjust when he sees where the ball carrier or the quarterback is going. So I really like that about his game. Sometimes you see a lot of defensive linemen get out of control, just trying to get to the ball carrier, just scrapping and clawing to get to the ball carrier or the quarterback. So you like to see a guy his size, knowing that he's methodical and just patient when it comes to him rushing after the quarterback or getting after the ball carrier.
Well, folks, if you're just tuning in to the show on a Monday, we got the lead scouting and recruiting analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, one Justin Smith, here on the phone line, talking 2021 class for Tide, which includes one 5-star defensive lineman, Damon Payne. But, Justin, another guy has dropped his top 6 list. He dropped it over the weekend, and that's T.J. Dudley here. And here's a guy that, when you watch his tape, he's got a lot of that thumping, hard-hitting mentality to him. What did you think of Dudley's top 6 list, and where does the Tide stand with him in terms of hoping to get his commitment at some point?
Well, yeah, T.J. Dudley is a 2022 4-star linebacker out of Montgomery Catholic High School in Montgomery, Alabama. He did drop that top 6, included the Tide, along with some more heavy hitters when you look at Clemson being included, also Auburn being included as well. 2 teams that I think play a large role in Dudley's recruitment moving forward. But something that I think that is really interesting about him dropping that top 6 is the fact that when I talked to him, he said he dropped that top 6 because of the pandemic. You can see now that the pandemic is not only affecting the 2021 recruiting class, it is also affecting the 2022 class. You have guys who take visits during their junior season of high school who get a chance to get on these campuses for the first time. And this is sometimes the most important visits for guys who want to make a decision before their senior season. They're possibly not going to be able to do that. So you see T.J. Dudley, a 2022 kid, releasing that top 6 because he knows that there's a lot of things that are uncertain when it comes to the college football season. And he told me just with his talks with many different coaching staffs, the teams that are recruiting him, he did say that no one knows anything. The coaches don't know when they're going to be able to host any recruits, or if they're going to be able to host any recruits this upcoming season, with that recruiting dead period being extended through August 31st. But I do feel the Tide is in a great position with this 2022 in-state prospect. He told me that he loves the Tide's coaching staff. He loves the way that they coach. So the Tide is in a great position, but I think it's just interesting to me that he dropped that top 6 with him being a 2022 kid because of the pandemic and the impact the coronavirus has had on college football recruiting.
Now, Justin, you and I spoke on this kind of off the air a couple of days ago, and that was, what's the next move here for the Crimson Tide where this class is concerned? It could go defensive back here, where you would have Kyrie Jackson, the JUCO. You would have JaQuincy McKinstry here, Jalen Marshall here, or it could go on the tight end side of things and pick up a very athletic tight end that Saban has talked about. This program kind of needs to bring into the fold. So just from your expertise here on the trail, what which position group do you think Alabama actually hits next? Is it the tight end group, or is it the defensive back group again?
Well, I think you have to look at the tight ends, the defensive back. Just going back to one of the episodes I had on the process recently, where I broke down what could be next for the Tide. Along with Damon Payne, I talked about Kyrie Jackson, who announced that his commitment date will be on August 15th today. I also talked about Robbie Oops, the three-star tight end out of South Carolina. So I think all of the attention turns to those guys at this moment in terms of guys who could commit to the Tide next. So that is where my attention will go as far as who could commit next to the Tide. But you always have to keep your eyes on guys like JaQuincy McKinstry, who is constantly stating, no matter what interview he does, that it's whenever the moment feels right for him. You also just have to pay attention to a defensive lineman that I've been talking about lately. I think the Tide could try to add some defensive linemen in the next couple of months, and adding them to the group of Payne and Byrne will make this an impressive defensive line group for the Tide in the 2021 recruiting cycle.
Folks, if you're just tuning into the show once again, we got Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, on the line here talking this 2021 class. And Justin, you also mentioned a 2022 wide receiver that's gotten some interest here from the Tide.
Well, I was discussing Caleb Byrne, the 2022 five-star wide receiver out of Texas, who is going to make the claim to quite possibly be the number one wide receiver in the 2022 class. I got a chance to interview him. You guys check out that article on touchdownalabama.com. When I talked to him, he said he loved everything about the Tide, pretty much, from how they use their wide receivers to his relationship with the coaching staff. He said when they have talked in the past, their conversations have been great. He has loved his conversation with coaches at the University of Alabama, but not only because they talk about football, because they talk about things outside of the game as well. So Caleb Byrne is a guy to pay attention to. As the Tide 2021 recruiting class continues to move forward, the Tide coaching staff has to juggle multiple classes at one time. So you're going to see a lot of more talks and things going on with guys in the 2022 recruiting class moving forward. And I think Caleb Byrne will be a name to look out for as far as him being one of the top wide receivers in that 2022 class. Just looking at his film, I think his route running is pretty impressive, and I think it just shows what the college football game, what direction the college football game is going in terms of wide receivers being ready to play straight out of high school.
He's Justin Smith, ladies and gentlemen, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, joining us right now to talk the 2021 class and beyond, as Nick Saban not done yet, not messing around, getting these young athletes to commit to the Tide. But Justin, we appreciate your expertise, your insight, you taking time to join us on the show to give us the lowdown in recruiting. You stay safe, take it easy, be good, man.
You do the same, Stephen.
It's always fun talking with Justin here on the recruiting trail. That man is hard at work, scouting, analyzing, breaking down these athletes from A to Z. But we take another break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, folks. When we get back, we dive into more of your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your concerns. Bring them on into the conversation table right after this.
T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month, or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We're back into the action, folks, on a Monday, number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, notes, and information. In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciating everybody for tuning in to the channel. And it's your time again, Bama Nation, 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358. Got to give some shout outs here to Waylon for dropping in that $4.99 via the super chats, helping us out there. So appreciate that, Waylon. $10 coming from Roll Tide Rise Up. Appreciate that, Roll Tide Rise Up. And $5 coming in from one of our faithful listeners, Willie351. So Willie351 throwing in that $5 into the super chat as well. Once again, if you want to donate via the super chats, it's at the bottom of the screen, bottom of the YouTube screen to the right. Bottom of the YouTube chat screen to the right with a $sign. You hit that $sign. What that does is it helps us here at TDA get more equipment, keep the show, the site running, and also helps out the staff. But it continues to allow us to do what we do, which is providing you, the fans, with the utmost and Tide football information. But as you're getting your thoughts together, once again, 205-448-1358 here. Huge shout out to former Alabama player and coach Sylvester Croom, who will go into the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame on this weekend. I believe he will go in on Sunday, the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. And this is an individual that just a beacon of light as a player, as a coach, as an assistant, as a father figure. It doesn't get any better than Coach Croom. I mean, Coach Croom played at Alabama, a native of Tuscaloosa, played for the Crimson Tide from 1972 to 74. He was a tight end, a linebacker before he settled in at the center position on the offensive line in 74 and was a first-team All-SEC guy, an All-American guy, a senior captain, part of 3 conference championships with the Tide from 72 to 74, and then a national championship in 1973. After spending 1 year in the NFL with the New Orleans Saints, that was 1975, he came back to his alma mater here in Tuscaloosa to serve under Paul Bear Bryant as an assistant coach from 1976 to 86. He was a grad assistant, an inside linebackers coach, an outside linebackers coach. He mentored talents such as E.J. Jr., Derek Thomas, Cornelius Bennett, Don McNeil. The list goes on. Coach Croom, a man amongst men, and really proud to see him going to the Hall of Fame right now. But we take a call right now in the phone line. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
I don't know there, Stephen M. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm doing great. Be glad whenever this COVID stuff is going to be over with. I used to see some Alabama football out there on the field. They was mentioned in the chat there maybe we may even play Oklahoma. You think that could be possible?
I would like to see Greg Byrne go out there and make a deal. I would like to see it happen because I think the first game of the season, Oklahoma plays Montana State. If I'm not mistaken, Oklahoma opens up the season with Montana State. I will fact check that, but I believe it's Montana State for the Sooners to open up the year. So I would like to see, Greg Byrne go out there and at least try to make a deal with the Sooners.
Yeah. It was also mentioned about North Dakota State there got a pretty good team this year. What do you think about that?
North Dakota State, they're a good program. I mean, I remember, I believe Carson Wentz came out of that program. Carson Wentz came out of North Dakota State. So the Bison, they typically, even though it's an FCS school, they typically play really good football. So that's intriguing. I mean, that's something for me to think about. North Dakota State will be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, I appreciate you giving me the time there, and I love to hear Waylon's poems, and then they had it mentioned around there that maybe Willie 351 will be the vice president. I like to see that too.
Hey, we will see how it all boils down, Ben, but we appreciate you calling in. Keep listening to us.
All righty. Thank you, and roll tide.
No problem. We continue the calls here on a Monday. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Steven, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. And yourself?
Can't complain. First of all, I appreciate you shouting out Coach Sylvester Croom. He was one of my favorite players.
Yeah, Coach Croom, as I've said, man amongst the man amongst men. He, he was somebody that, although John Mitchell Jr. and Wilbur Jackson were the first two to break the color barrier in Alabama, Sylvester Croom came behind both of those guys, continued the excellence as a player, great coach, 41 years of coaching where he knew how to get the best out of people and not cut corners. And that's what I respect the most about him. Coach Croom did not cut corners.
I agree. And he's always been a stand-up guy. And his daughter was, I believe she lived down in the Mobile area. And he's from Hope, Alabama. Some of y'all may know that's right over there in Tuscaloosa area. But I was actually calling about the Payne kid. Is he any relation to the Payne that we had on the team?
In relation to Damon Payne, I am not sure, but that will be something I will look up. That will be something I will ask around because I've gotten that a lot. Is Damon Payne of any relation to Duran? So I will ask around, I will get that information, and upon me getting that information, I will share it here on this show. But right now, not quite sure.
Okay. And last thing, how do I get one of them subscriptions?
You can get one of the subscriptions. The link to the subscription will actually be found in the description of the show. You can have that link in the description. But what you would do is you would go to touchdownalabama.com. That is touchdownalabama.com. And once you go there, you click on the button join. Once you click on the button join, you will be getting that subscription.
All right, I'm try to do that now. My grandbaby using the computer right now, but I'll try to do that before I hit the bed.
All right, man. Hey, we appreciate the love and support, man, and keep listening to us.
All right.
Appreciate you, everybody, calling in here on a Monday. But happy to see Sylvester Croom going to the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. Also, big shout out to Trayvon Diggs. Former Alabama corner Trayvon Diggs has signed his contract, his 4-year rookie deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the details have not come out on the contract just yet, but Diggs, who was selected in the second round of the NFL draft back in April, had signed his deal for the Cowboys. Also, the Los Angeles Rams have come to terms with former Tide linebacker Terrell Lewis as well. Once again, the details from the contract have not come out, but it's good to know that Trayvon Diggs and Terrell Lewis, two former Crimson Tide players, have both been inked to contracts. But we take another break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Continue to line us up in the YouTube chat line. Upon our return, we get into more of a conversation about Alabama deeper, more advanced in the preseason practice plan. We'll talk about it. What's going on with Coach David Ballou and Matt Ray and what they're doing? We'll touch it up after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Back into the action, folks, known as In My Own Words with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, on a Monday. And for all of the In My Own Words fans out there in the out here listening to the show, what's going on or what's been happening here with the global pandemic, we as a small business here at TDA, definitely we rely on you to keep us going forward, keep us pushing forward. And the best way for you to support us is being a subscriber to the site. Now, you can do this by going to touchdownalabama.com. You go to touchdownalabama.com, just $5.95 a month as a subscriber. You get the best, you get the latest in all things Crimson Tide football. You get the annual print magazine, but also you get just the most exceptional recruiting news from our own Justin Smith. And being a subscriber is the biggest compliment that you, the fans, can give to us. So go to touchdownalabama.com, click join. Your support greatly appreciated. Link will also be in the description about how you can be a subscriber to the network, to the channel, and be a part of this community, of our community, talking Crimson Tide football. But we get into Alabama deeper, more. They've gotten deeper into the advanced training, the advanced preseason practice schedule, preseason practice plan from the NCAA. And I spoke on this briefly on Friday, but I want to kind of dive into more of the nuts and bolts of what's really going on here. So from July 24th, which was last Friday, to August the 6th, things are starting to get ramped up now. Now the players are into that mindset of fall camp is coming. Fall camp is around the corner. We got to get ourselves in that mindset to playing big man football. So after the voluntary workouts and after the mandatory things, now here comes the 20 countable athletic hours of we're getting ourselves prepared to get out there on the field and get started with fall camp. And of those 20 hours, you look at 8 of those hours being strength and conditioning training with coaches David Ballou and Matt Ray, who have done an unbelievable job. Matt Ray has got the speed chart going, and right now on the speed chart that he has, or the speed, tweet that he put out there, Jalen Waddle has been killing the speed drills, has been dominating the speed drills, and over half the team, according to Dr. Ray, has upped the speed up. So he's talking about the speed is up. Dave Ballou is more so weight training, peak power, profile power, peak lifting. And, he's been big on the offensive line, hitting those goals. And on average, the average offensive line, the power profile needs to be at least in the upper 70s. One of the offensive linemen for Alabama's team right now for the month of July has already hit profile power of 87. Higher in the upper 70s, this guy's darn near 90 for profile power. Now, Ballou did not name who this particular offensive lineman was or is, but they're hitting that peak power there in terms of the strength. And if you check out this video, Ballou is showing you how it's done here as he is social distancing. He's got his mask on, doing the incline bench press. Look at him go, David Ballou, hitting that weight. Hit it, boy, hit it. Coach Ballou hitting that weight there, having that social distancing, but really showing these athletes how it's done here in terms of peak power. And this is somebody that had great success everywhere he's been as a coach, so it's going to be awesome as he continues to work with the guys. Part 2 of the program is the walkthroughs, 6 hours of walkthroughs that include a football. So Nick Saban is actually out there on the field taking the guys through the different drills, precautions, and so forth. And then the last part of the process is the 6 hours of meetings, team meetings, one-on-one meetings, film room study, things of that nature. But if you want the best and news, notes, information, and coverage here, Alabama fans. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You can download it for your iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you have the Android phone. For your audio listening needs here, we got you covered. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We have you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I shall return on Wednesday, continuing the talk that is Tide football. Remember, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. Link will be found in the description. But until next time, husbands, love your wives. Wives, appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing those things legitimately now to not be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and this has been In My Own Words.